confirmed that Gannon was shot and stabbed. His body was placed in a suitcase and left by a bridge in Florida.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most trusted voice in true crime. So the 32-page arrest affidavit has been leaked. It's been reported on by a couple of news agencies. A lot of them have provided some of the details from the affidavit but are electing not to publish the 32-page affidavit. I've looked at the whole affidavit. I'm going to just highlight a few aspects from it, specifically some of the iPhone information and then some of the browser history, which just shows kind of reasonable cause. You can see exactly what Letecia was thinking on the day before the murder and then also the actual day of the murder and then subsequent as well. So that's quite interesting to look at. There's also information about a faked polygraph test, which you can go and look up on Crime Rocket. That's published over there, crimerocket.com. And but let's get started with the internet browser history. So the affidavit lists on page 22 of 32, 34 separate entries, and most of them are on the 25th. So at least around about 14 of these 34 entries are listed all on the 25th. So obviously something happened on that day that seemed to set her off, and the 25th was a Wednesday. So some of the bear in mind this was 2 days before Gannon was murdered. They are saying that he was murdered in his bedroom. They're saying they found blood on the, I think, the ceiling, on the walls and on the floor, right? And they provide a few photos in the affidavit as well. So in terms of the searches included find military singles. Parenting should be 4 people, not 1. I'm overdoing all the work for my stepkids and their mom doesn't help. So quite a lot of resentment against Gannon's mother. Mom advice from stepmom. If you aren't involved in your kid's life, you're shitty. So there seems to be also some guilt there. You know, if you're not involved, I don't know, maybe she's feeling that towards Gannon's mother, or she's feeling it herself. So another search, my husband's ex-wife does nothing for her kids. And then 2 searches, I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a card since I raised her kids. Another one, I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a Valentine's card since I raised her kids. And you sort of wonder, what is this for? Is it to communicate something on social media? Is it to make a joke? You know, it's a kind of a bizarre search, isn't it? She also, her last search, or prior to 2 o'clock on Wednesday, was one day some people will wish they treated you differently. And there's a little bit of a sadistic aspect to that particular search, almost like there's a sort of an implied threat there, certainly knowing what we now know, you know, what happened shortly after that. Then on Thursday the 26th, there's a lot less activity, but she's still bummed out. One of the searches is, it's crappy some parents don't care for their kids or buy them presents. And so there seems to be, again, just some resentment that some people aren't doing this for, you know, buying gifts for their kids or you know, some kids or whatever. I've got to admit, I'm not that familiar with this case to know whose birthday it was, or, you know, if this was something that was going on, or if it was coming off from Christmas. So I don't know if you guys know, was a birthday on the cards at that time and she was upset about that. Then another one, parents are those who put their kids before their nails. Now I don't know if that's a comment she got and then she Googled it to see what people are talking about it, but clearly Letecia was sort of considering not putting her child first, right? But I think she was also upset because I think her feeling was that she was the only parent in terms of 3 parents or something like that. I think she was feeling overwhelmed that her husband maybe wasn't pulling his weight or something like that, based on these searches anyway. Friday the 27th, the day of the murder, and this is where it really comes through. My son burned the carpet. How do I fix it? And these searches were taking place quite early in the morning. Another one: will humidifier help if exposed to smoke? Another one: Colorado law for kids staying at home. Now, these particular searches seem to be, she'd already decided what she's going to do, and she's trying to figure out what is normal, what is appropriate. Another one: school is out, is it okay for my kid to stay at home alone? Another one, and this is at 1:01 a.m. Another one is at 1:03 a.m. So she's obviously not sleeping. She's up awake, plotting, planning, not happy. Another one is: son is sick, but I have to go to work. That was at 1:01 a.m. Another one: son's sick, can he stay home? 1:03 a.m. Suede repair kit for sofa, 4:40 a.m. So she's obviously kind of obsessing about some of the damage to the home, the carpet, the sofa, and so on. But it may also be that there was some blood, I think, on the mattress. Maybe she's, contemplating how to clean up certain things, right, from the house. I don't know. And then, so you have all of these searches sort of early in the morning, and then nothing. And then the next search is El Paso Sheriff's Office number at 6:54 p.m. And we know that she called 911 at around about 7 p.m. So the exact time was 6:54. Then January the 28th, that's a Saturday, she's still up early. It's 4:15 a.m., 4:16, 4:36. She wants to know, what is the process for our runaway child? Again, she's trying to find out from online what is the normal, what to expect from what is going on. She's obviously in an unknown situation. Another one: police steps for our runaway, 4:16. So what she kind of wants to do is research what the police are going to be doing so that she can kind of mitigate and protect herself. Another one appears to be for a flight. I'm assuming like an airplane flight. It's difficult to be exact about what that's about, but it's possible that she was considering running, escaping, flying somewhere else. And then she was also did a search for CarNet Volkswagen at 4:18 p.m., so much later in the day. So that's those searches, and they were sort of recovered with the metadata, with the timestamps and the dates. But from Letecia's iPhone, they did recover certain other searches, but missing the timestamp. So they seem to be able to verify that it was around about the ballpark of the between the 26th or 25th and the 29th or so. And this is page 23 of the affidavit. But they weren't able to be precise on exactly what time. So some of the search terms were: find me a new husband book. I feel like I'm just a nanny, not a stepmom. Husband uses me to babysit his kids. Are there any free money to move away from bad situation? Number 5, my husband never posts about me but does everything else. So it sounds like she's talking there about his social media, that he never says anything about her possibly on his Facebook. And it's just showing you what sort of things are setting people off kind of in crimes now, so that even social media, what other person says or doesn't say about you, can have an impact. And how people are using online resources to educate themselves on not only how to cover up a crime, or why, almost to get reinforcement for why they're feeling the way they're feeling, but also to almost like educate themselves on police protocols. Of course, doing this kind of gives away where their minds are anyway, and I think this formed a big part of the reasonable cause to arrest her, all this information. Another one was, my husband only cleans up for the army, not me. Number 7, I'm just a glorified babysitter. 8, find a new husband. 9, send my husband sexual messages and he ignores them. 10, make my husband want me more. 11, I feel my husband uses me to babysit his kid. 12, find a guy without kids. So almost every second search has got something to do with husband. I mean, there are 12 searches highlighted here. How many of them have the word husband? The first one, the third one, the fifth one, sixth one, seventh one is about being a glorified babysitter. Eighth one, find a new husband. 9, sent my husband sexual messages. 10, make my husband. 11, feel like my husband. Right, and then 12, find a guy without kids. So there are actually 8 specific references to husband out of those 12, and 9 or 10 if you sort of join the dots. And so what you're looking at here is, and I'm not blaming her husband, I'm just saying it seems like she was sort of blaming her husband for not getting the support that I guess she expected or felt entitled to, or whatever it is. But that was clearly a source of concern, and for her I think she saw the solution as just finding someone else, find another guy, and that's going to sort out your problems, kind of thing. And if you look at 3 of the messages in particular, sent my husband sexual messages and ignores them, and I feel like my husband uses me to babysit his kid, and find a guy without kids. All of these clearly show a bristling resentment for her role in the marriage. So you can almost kind of get the sense that she's unhappily married, right? And she feels that she's stuck with Gannon, and Gannon is reminding her that she doesn't want to be where she is. She doesn't want to be in this situation. So it's almost like Gannon is reminding her of what she doesn't want to be. She doesn't want to be. She wants to be a wife, and she wants to be part of a loving relationship. She doesn't want to just be a babysitter, and that is sort of the. So one kind of gets the idea that the early resentment against Gannon was actually because of anger against Al. Doesn't that make sense? That she was actually upset about him. And one must also take this sort of scenario, which is sort of revealed here, and say, did this kind of thing play out at all with Chris Watts, where he's also maybe got some resentment to his wife, and does he feel that through his own children? It's just an open question. I wonder what you guys think about that. I also think is some overlap between Letecia's committing this crime and perhaps learning from or trying to learn from what happened in the Watts case. So, for example, in his sermon on the porch, he talks, facing the cameras, and in hers, she has her back to the cameras so that people can't sort of read her expressions and kind of do lie detection like that. Another thing, as I said, that's interesting is she doesn't take a lie detector test, but she fakes that she has. And that is also from the affidavit, and that is, as I say, on crimerocket.com. Go and check it out. I've provided the full affidavit, all 32 pages. There are a couple of images as well of the mattress and plugs and various items in Gannon's bedroom. That is on the Patreon channel of True Crime Rocket Science, so head on over there. I think it's under the $1 tier. But yeah, I will continue to look at the affidavit and see what else is worth highlighting. I mean, something else that's just interesting is that her story to the cops apparently was that she was raped by a guy called, I think, Eduardo or something, and then he kidnapped Gannon. another thing that's just worth pointing out, like a final thing to point out, is the affidavit, I think, has been superseded by the discovery of Gannon's remains. So this affidavit was dated, I think it's the 28th of February. Let me just make absolutely sure. Yes, so it's the 28th of February, which means it was superseded by kind of the discovery of Gannon's remains, which took place about 2 weeks ago now, in March 20th or so. So around about 3 weeks after this affidavit, they found evidence that he was actually murdered. So physical evidence that he was murdered. Whereas what was found earlier was some evidence, a little bit of blood evidence. There was even blood found in Letecia's Volkswagen. That's in the affidavit. But anyway, if you're interested, you can head over to Patreon/TCRS for the 32 pages. I'm not going to take it further than that. If you're interested in further coverage on this channel, please subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, and stay safe, stay healthy, make sure you get enough sleep, and I'll see you guys next time.